Hi, Moheen, and I appreciate that, but I don't know why, but my mental goes, were you bullish on stocks on Thursday or Friday? Or were you seeing futures right now being like, nah, I'm bullish? I'm just teasing you, buddy. But welcome in, you guys. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a good long weekend. It is pouring freaking rain outside. So, what better to do than come hang out with you guys live, right? I think that would be a good thing. We can talk about a few things going on. We can look at what's going on with SPX 500 and things like that, see what's going on out there. I did notice that Bitcoin, we were mentioning that Bitcoin actually was able to confirm the 2-hour signal we were talking about in yesterday's video. Boom, boom, confirms above here. 4 hours should be rolling up soon. Looks like it's rolled up and good to go. I'm not bullish yet. I mean, you have a fair point. I would say this. I'd say like macro side still bullish, right? Short time frame with the SPY, you had to realize that the 30-minute was your bearish stance. Your 2-hour had an argument for neutral. The 30-minute was bearish, but the daily time frame pullbacks are a bullish thing. So even when we get a daily pullback, which we haven't really gotten one yet, I don't think we have. I don't think that's enough to justify this entire move, like a retrace. So overall, though, it's like bullish. I think we'll go to all-time highs like this year. That's what I'm like saying. Buenos dias, Will. How's it going this morning? Not overly bullish yet, but this is very bullish behavior. We can go over that to start off this video. I just wanted to see if anybody wanted to leak in. We had this pullback to complete, then a balls deep, and we did talk about the scenarios. Okay, one thing we should clear up very early on is, okay, let's ask you guys a question. Okay, what do you think is better here? Not even taking into consideration futures right now, even though futures are like here. Okay, what would be, and I think I said this backwards actually in one of my videos, so I just wanted to make sure to clear it up so we're not, it was like a small piece. So what would be the most bullish thing, right? Would this have been the situation that goes up and crosses through that high? It could be. It could be, right? If you're taking into consideration like counts and things like that, you'd be like, oh, another drop down. That'd be more like, and then reject. So really what I was trying to get across here was in my video, I said, oh, if it comes down like this, then I'd really like to reload and find those buyers and blah, blah. And right after I like reviewed that, I was just like, man, I mean, that's kind of right, but that's overall just like as far as price action goes, it's much better to take out this high now, test those sellers, and then you're able to use those buyers to actually head higher to go to that new high here. I might have said all time, but new high here. So I actually like this more, and you can kind of see that because if we would have drugged this down further, where would the 2-hour go further into? It'd go further negative, right? So if we're able to go further negative for a whole like couple of days or a day and a half, and then we start to curl up, well, we're going to be really deep on this MACD. You're going to have those sellers here. You're going to have sellers here. And then you're probably going to confirm back down. So I think this is actually the better scenario happening right now in the futures to actually get you to go to do what? Well, in order for the 2-hour to be like back to like, you can find bullish things in here, right? But price action would say you still need to take out this high to be like bullish. That's why we look at 30-minute timeframes to give us those hints. So for this, you have to take this out. And I think the situation we're in now, seeing futures do that, I think you're much more likely to see that over the next couple of weeks now. But I kind of agree with Richard in that I don't think this was the daily pullback. So I would highly suggest just having those kind of like warning flags, like be available, have your eyes ready to find some warning flags, because I think that this might continue for a bit of time. I think they might use Nvidia as some liquidity thing, but I think this could continue for a little bit of time here, and maybe we actually see that pull down and go up near. See, I would really like that to extend into OPEX. We'll have to see. Difficult. I'm with the family at the moment, but we'll catch up on the video later. Appreciate you putting something out on your day off. Oh, yeah, it's freaking pouring rain outside, Laws, so don't take me too hard. It was absolutely pouring rain outside right now, so not fun. But yeah, thank you for checking in, Laws. Oh, let me just put this up there in case people want this today. We're just gonna show it off. We got no daily expected moves to really pay attention to. So we'll just put this out there on the rainy day off in case it's raining for you too. Just so you know that the course does end, the sale does end this week. So just be prepared for that. We'll just leave a small note here in the bottom right, very, very small. We don't really care about it, right? Right there. All right, cool. That's there. Now let's go look at futures and see what's going on here. Why don't we do that? Should we do that? Man, and isn't it crazy that we were the ones that were like, if this is really the crash moment, why are we seeing a divergence? And then the news kind of proves the divergence right. Yeah, literally zero pool. Actually, we can go to the pool right now, Jonna. It's just the backyard just completely full. It's literally flooded. So yes, you did have 30-minute divergence here. We saw the 30-minute divergence not necessarily showing up very well on the SPY here for the MACD. But we do see that slight thing here for the RSI. Now, this was, if you didn't get good news, I think you're going down here. I think maybe you would have saw more relief bounce, like say going into Tuesday, and then you would have fell down, right, with no news. I still think you would have got an upward move actually to go back into this bulk of sellers like during market hours. But because you get good news, that positivity turned into positivity, and you took out this high, and that's really what you had to do. So this situation we were looking for is actually completely changed, and you can see that from looking at futures over here. And maybe I'll update those expected moves real quick. If you need weekly expected moves, just shout it out. We'll go look at them. We can see where that monthly expected move is, and this isn't like the perfect numbers, but we will go over them. Let's give you guys these levels. So for here, for the SPX, right, this is technically for the SPX itself, right, just so you're aware, but we can kind of utilize these levels. You're going to see where is it? It's right at that monthly expected move as well. And 566, okay, what is this? 442. So there you go. So you were pretty much, the reason that the weekly expected moves were so cool this week was like, if you go down, it is a potential level. Like if you go down early on, it's a potential level to like say buy because you're filling that gap, and then it just starts to move back. And that could have been your daily pullback. Like that's when I would have been convinced, right? I think that this is saying like, yeah, we pulled back, but we were just continuing the same move. The other thing is to the upside, right? Notice where the upside move is, right? It's right near this high. And notice if you tag that and then you dropped, would you be lower than this point? Yes, and if you never caught yourself and you take out this low, oh my gosh, you're going down to here. So very good levels for the weekly expected moves this week. I just wanted to point that out. I think this was a level we had marked up. I can't believe we hit it to a T. That's just crazy. But monthly expected moves really helping. Divergence is helping out a lot here. I know I was like, just be cautious if that thing rolls up, but we saw the rejection. Very nice. But we can see here that what have we done as far as price action goes? We're turning up, right? What are we doing as far as the 2-hour MACD goes? Hey, we're turning up, right? We're getting into positive territory, right? Technicals are looking better here. We see that the RSI is curling up past that center line in positive territory as well. So this means like the SPX 500, like the futures here on the 30-minute, look at them. What are they doing? What do you guys think is happening right now? According to like your MACD, you guys saw this, right? The last time we did something. Yeah, the Qs have new weeklies. I'll get you guys those in one moment. All right, give me just 1 second here. So this is squeezing, like very, very obviously just squeezing. Market only moves based on his tweets and that. If you believe that, then you will always believe that, and you most likely will struggle if you're trying to do like shorter time frames. You look for areas of risk. Momentum will tell you when there's risk of something bad. It doesn't mean that something bad has to happen, but you see all the divergences here for the SPX 500. And what you do is you say, oh, that confirmed risk off, we could get bad news. If you want to just take bullish trades, you would just say, I'm off, we're gonna get bad news. I don't like that. And then you see it break down to what critical levels, right? It's right. Like tell me that the technicals got this wrong right here. You have 2 hour divergence. You turned up for a triple one. You confirmed down. You went down. You reacted back up into the sellers. This is price action, but technicals wise, you confirmed down. You went negative, and you never went back to positive until right now. So how can, like, this is what confuses me about people that want to use technical analysis and then don't believe technical analysis works. It makes no sense to me, right? When did we say take your fucking risk off the table? Right here. Like, for these reasons. But like, you have to at least believe that what you're doing is correct in some way, and at least have proof for that. Because if you're constantly saying the news, here's what I'll show you. Look, this said on Friday that we have a chance to reverse around. We have a 30-minute divergence. Once again, even though you got good news and it blasted up higher, you are very likely to probably do this anyway. Tomorrow. You're very likely to do it. Why? Because the technicals say it's very likely to do it. Right? If you do not believe in technicals, then why are you looking at technicals? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. The technicals will tell you. Do you want to see the technicals on this 30-minute chart that told you there is resistance outside of a monthly expected move? It's right fucking here. Like, this is what is so confusing to me about people on the internet and everyone out there. They're like, oh man, no one can tell what direction this is going. Last week, look at our video and say, hey, yeah, this is the time where, you know, you can see something bad and you're starting to get divergences. We get one hiccup moment. Hey, we can keep squeezing. I'm not saying like I'm shorting the market or anything like that at this time. I told you guys I'm just going risk off. All right, I tried to take a play right in here saying, hey, maybe this is done. And then I go, nope, I'm not seeing the thing. So it's risk off. I don't know. That stuff's really been annoying me. It's like people think, and now look at the put call. What the, is this open right now? Why is that so high? Look at that, everyone betting on a crash too. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, and this is no offense to anyone. It's just, I've read a lot of stuff on the internet about people throwing out technical analysis and I just disagree with them, or they talk badly about it. And I sit there and go, that's what I do the entire time, is technical analysis, price action, and just reading into weekly and monthly expected moves. That's all I do if you want to sum it up. And it works. So you're telling me that the thing that I do constantly that gives me that 70% win ratio is bad. I disagree with you, and you're going to be the 30% and I'll be the 70%. And this isn't at you guys. This is just a statement about technical analysis. And if you actually want to learn it, like this, it's like learning math and not trusting math. That's what it is. You have to, and maybe you need to build that trust by like constantly looking, like, right, give it more time, right? But I'm just saying, if you do not trust the skills that you have and you do not trust technicals, then you technically don't have any skills because you're just not going to react. Do you know what I did on Friday? Do you know what I did on Friday? Do you guys remember what things I bought on Friday? What stocks was I shouting out on Friday? Good technical stocks. DJT ripped. Good technical stocks. SoFi made a higher low. And then it could roll again, right? Look at this. Technicals, the price action isn't saying this is good. This could roll again. And I don't care because I have a management for the trade if it goes wrong. I know that technical analysis isn't 100%, but I can get it to 70%. Palantir started to roll, right? But what's it doing? Is it really losing critical levels? Is it making a higher low? Is it maybe just reaching into those buyers? Is it curled down on the MACD? No, this is a higher low. And your MACD is right by the center line. So if this is positive, you're probably going to go up to this gap. Like, you have to, I don't know the way to put it, because it's hard to convince you if you're not convincing yourself. And if you think every single move is random, then you're going to miss out on every single move that we've made money off of. Like this one, that was the best trade of 2025. Okay, you're convinced we're going to crash. And we just said scenario number one, the 2 hour can just cross up and you're going positive. And the 2 hour crosses up and you go positive. And then around that area, what did we say around here? We just said, okay, now that that's curled up, it's very likely that we squeeze if we can break through this level and go to what? The monthly expected move. And now we're at the monthly expected move and you're like, technicals don't work. That's what I'm seeing on the internet, not necessarily from you guys. So sorry, you're getting like the brunt end of one of my rants, that because I have to bottle it all inside while it's raining outside. But yeah, I really think you need to just spend more time with it. And pretty much it goes like this, and I hate to say it, and I feel very bad saying this. If you are getting the technicals wrong here and not executing trades right, you're doing something wrong. The technicals are doing nothing wrong here. The mechanics of the market are at work here. Price action is what we utilized in this area a little bit more than technicals, right? We were paying attention to the technicals staying positive. We were paying attention to the price action. When did the market start to throw up? When it went negative. The technicals are getting this 100% right. Like all the time. You've had like 2 moments where the technicals broke a low, right? This was the only moment that technically did not make a lot of sense. Was this right here. All right? That's it. Technically, it looks bearish to you. Price action-wise, it does. Technicals say potential to reverse around. Chad. Yeah. Oh, I know, Nana. I was just kind of, I did the mistake. I downloaded, remember I told you I deleted Twitter off my phone? I downloaded Twitter on my phone, and I just wanted to see what people are saying about the SPY. And everyone was calling stock market crash again, or like Black Tuesday or something. And I was just like, dude, what? I was like, I get it. Price action looks that way, but it's like, even if we go down to 550, we can still be bullish. Like, that's the crazy part. That's just the daily pullback we want. I don't like people saying information that just like gets like millions of views on stock market crash, and then you see a 30-minute divergence here and you go, maybe I don't want to really be short over the long weekend just in case, and then boom, you just lose all your money. Like, this is like Meet Kevin type of shit. Like, this is just stupidity. Meet Kevin the other day. This popped up on my channel. I have to point this out because this frustrated me too. And then I'm done ranting and I'll get back to the chat and we're good. He literally said that the Fed has a chance to raise rates like next month. He thinks the Fed is going to raise rates next month. That's what he was putting out to his people. I did not watch the video. I read the title and I like watched the subtitles for a second while it played, and I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you just like brain dead? I'll show you guys the probabilities. You guys want to see the probabilities of a rate hike next month? Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. It's not even on the freaking table. It's literally not even a data point. I'm looking at it right now. I'm just like, this stuff really frustrated me over the weekend because, like, tons of people don't understand many things about the market. And that's why this channel is, like, here. That's, like, the whole purpose. So my anger is, like, for you guys, not at you guys, right? At any of you. Like, the reason I do this is to point out very, very, very simple things that can help you make decisions with your money. Look at the yellow line. Did we not say the 2-hour crosses up, and if you form that base there, you're probably going to next month's monthly expected move. That's usually what happens. And then it happens. Like, it really will help a ton, guys. Like, if you're still struggling in this market and you're just, maybe thinking too complex, maybe day trading, I get it. You're going to have a hard time if you're day trading or, but the price action has been pretty good. But at this moment, it's like, just treat the market very simply. This is bullish. You hit a monthly expected move. You're going to see resistance there. Now, if we saw something unexpected, we can see good things still in the month of May, even this week on a shortened trading week. So let's pay attention to what the market shows us. The market showed us a 30-minute divergence. What else was showing us 30-minute divergence that we kept pointing out? I don't remember. It was IWM. Remember we said IWM has already taken care of business. They're done. They could just rock it right now, and the SPY never has to look back. If like IWM just carries things, SPY starts to carry things, everyone just gets euphoric, you can get a blow off top, like a serious blow off top to like 6,500 for SPX. Some people are shouting out 7,000. And why did we start looking at IWM? Well, because we were looking at the potential opportunities with DJT, and DJT popped with the divergence. Fan-fucking-tastic. SoFi, we were like, oh, I wanted it to roll one more time and go test like 1280. Didn't do it. So I said, all right, well, I'm going to scale into one position. And guess what? That position is probably going to make me money tomorrow. Palantir, high or low. This one looks a little more risky to me, to be totally honest with you, with price action. But what do you have confidence in right now if you're a trader? Well, you have confidence in the fact that you dipped into the buyers in this gap. Fantastic. You could call it fair value. You can call it just a gap. It's whatever. But at that point, you're like, okay, we dipped into there. We didn't lose it. So the buyer stepped in. So now we have a chance to take out that high. And then right here, you're probably thinking, oh no, this is terrible. You haven't lost this low. So Palantir is still in a bullish position right now. Even from the 30-minute perspective, it can go bullish very quickly. I would say more neutral to bullish right now. With the structure of the price action, you would say it has the ability to be bullish. With the structure of a higher low confirmed by your MACD, you have the ability to be bullish. All right? Like these are things that you have to trust. If you do not trust it, then go do fundamentals and lose money. Like invest at least if you're going to do fundamentals. I would not trade based on fundamentals. I tried to do it. It didn't work for me at all. That is why I got serious into technical analysis, right? Because I was like, that sucked. And then I lost my business. And then I go, okay, I'm going to put myself 100% into technicals. And they worked. It's great stuff. All right, let's get into some stuff, guys. You got anything to do? Thanks for coming online. I appreciate you, Justin. I'm sorry for the rant, guys. You know I like my little rants and things like that. I apologize for it, but I just got frustrated with how people talk about markets, and everyone has a freaking mouth or freaking thumbs, and then people come into my channel and say, the technicals got everything wrong, and I can disprove you like within seconds. Rant away. Yeah. Hey, I'll be your entertainment for today. It's raining outside and I'm pissed. You know what happened today? I was supposed to go have fun all day, but now I'm not able to. So I'm pissed. So I'm going to take it out on some perma bears, which I guess is still kind of me, by the way. I'm still kind of a perma bear, by the way. I know this is crazy that I'm calling like all-time highs, but don't get it twisted. I'm kind of a perma bear, bro. Yeah, US ain't open today, but we were going to look at futures and just see how it behaves. Or if you guys have some stocks you want to look through, I'm feeling good about today. I feel like some good amount of people showed up. So if you guys, want to, go over some stocks, maybe stuff we don't generally look at. I know people have been literally emailing me about AMC and GME. Oh, there it is. There's GME. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Your rant is knowledge. Hey, that's good, Maxie. And I'm sorry for the tone. Sometimes I get like that. You guys know I'm never coming at you guys, even if you say something bad about technicals. I'm not coming at you. I'm trying to express my passion to you and show you why I believe in it, okay? I just want to show you why I believe in it, why I trust it, and how it actually works, and you can prove that it works within seconds. It's just you have to be thinking of things correctly and kind of tying everything together. And then, yes, at times news has to go with you, but news usually follows some kind of technical signal. Okay? Someone, you got everyone wants GME. All right? Not everyone. I know that. Not everyone. And Richard's going to lose his mind if we go to AMC. This is perfect. This is the perfect thing. This is literally the perfect thing to happen, and this gives you a shot. Breaking through I don't think you guys understand here how good that is. Technically, the exact level is not $33, that green line that you needed to get through in the month of May. By the way, that is a monthly move right there. And look where you're at. You squeezed to a monthly move. And what did you do? You closed above it. That is huge. Your monthly move was actually $32.98. I put 33 because that's a big option level for gamma squeezes, right? So 33 is very important. What is the benefit that GME is getting right now? It has the recipe for success. Now, do you want the truth about GME or do you want me to sugarcoat it? I'm going to ask you that. Do you want the truth about GME or do you want me to sugarcoat it? Nvidia, we will look at Nvidia. AMC to $1, Richard. Richard, stop it. You're going against retail with that. Stop. Richard, I know you don't like it, but stop rooting against it. Because you're with the short sellers, okay, buddy? Like, you're not with your friends on this one. Okay? All right, full truth on GME. Let's do full truth on GME. This is exactly what you need to see to win. This is exactly what you need to see for a big squeeze. And I'll give you the next level because gamma goes up, right? Gamma has to ramp up and has to hold price. So gamma's going to move. Gamma's going to slowly creep up like this, right? So you have to hold those gamma levels. That's why you probably heard a lot of people talking about like 580 for SPY. So for this, I'll give you the move to start off, and then we'll talk about it. I'll give you the move. Do you know what you have to cross through? Look how big this is. This is this week. Look how big this is. That's this week. So if you continue to do what you're doing, this says that you have a high probability to potentially go all the way up to $39. If you can continue to do what you're doing, the buying doesn't stop. You start to gamma ramp, $39 should be the target this week. That is crazy, right? That's good. Now, what was the time to buy GME that we shouted from the rooftops back when everyone was super bearish on everything? I get it. We were kind of crashing back then. We kind of were. Like, I get it. We were at that 95% line in the sand for SPY. Like, I get it. But where did we say GME was the opportunity? Right there. Daily divergence. You want to get tighter with it? I'll show you the real opportunity. Daily divergence. Right there was, it said right here, 24.26 is the time to buy, is what technicals told you. If you believe in them, if you think they work, if you trust them, because here's a divergence on the upside. Do you trust them? They confirmed bad things. Divergence on the downside. It confirmed good things. Right? Let me get rid of this because we're going to have to make a new zone for this whole area. Jesus, it's a big area now, and you've created like flags in here. It's a lot. I'll show you even a better level. You want to see something better? Because we talked about it to a T on an exact day. 2 hour. Do you guys remember us shouting out that there's 2 hour divergence confirming right here? So technically the riskier, but the I trust my technicals, and if something goes wrong, I trust myself to manage the trade using the technicals or using price action. $22, $22.08 to be exact. Right? The close of the bar was $22.03. Oh, sorry, give you a couple cents. $22.03 was the exact time where it said, this is going to attempt to reverse around. And then what happened that told you this is good? Did you go up to this block? Did you go up into here where the sellers came in? Right here. Did you go past this high? Or did you reject from there and turn down? Because that would have been bad. You didn't do that. You crossed, you confirmed divergence. You went above the high with price action. You went up. You did what from there? You retested into this, exactly where you broke out from, and you went higher. And then a daily confirmed up. And then you still sat there and went, oh, it's really low. It's really low. You know when you should buy stocks? When they're really low with a reversal signal. That's when you should try. That's the truth of it. Because if you're constantly buying at highs, you're constantly FOMOing. GME told you everything down here. What do you not want to see from GME over the next couple of weeks? I would say any kind of divergence for sure. I would even say that if you want the moment to happen this week, you don't want anything to curl down at all. I'll show you. They're up there singing. I will show you. Want to see something funny? What happens when it never curls down again? Look, it didn't even curl down right here. Didn't curl down. Boom. What happens when it curls down? It doesn't even make divergence, GME, because it has, you know, trading in the aftermarket and things like that, post and pre-market. You did what? You broke down through this low. You went into this area. You tried to get those buyers going, and it goes down again. Price action was just rejecting over and over and over again once you curled down a 30-minute MACD. So do you think that you want a 30-minute MACD? Look at this one right here. 30-minute did what? It curled up, 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 up. And then once it curled down, what happened? You start to see those rejections again. So what do you think you don't want to happen for GME? You don't want it to curl down. You want it to just go. And we said that. And, you know, some people are just like, what do you mean just go and all that kind of stuff? And I'm like, go. I mean go. Like, do not confirm back down at all. Because once you confirm down, you start to confirm pullback momentum. And they do not want GME to pop off. I can tell you that right now. We kind of know this at this point, I think. I think GME is great. I think GME is in a great, great structural look right now for that gamma squeeze. And all you need is it to keep price higher, elevated. If you're going to turn down, you don't lose price at all. Go sideways. Go up. Go sideways. Go up. That's like the worst thing that you want to see is right there. If you start to see it turn down, it's not a good sign. Even if you're like, oh, it's going to reach down and find those buyers. Nope. You don't want a chance of that. You don't want a chance that it can happen, right? Pay attention if it curls back up into positive territory, that could be the next shot. But if this curls down, I would expect it to get aggressive. I would expect it to come all the way back down into $30. You're going to see a 10% drop if you curl down on a 30-minute MACD. That's what I think. So go, pop off, son. Some people are bringing up some other stocks. What do you guys want to look at? Is it me or is PCC moving? Why was that moving for a second? It keeps like, I keep like scrolling for a second. I keep seeing that like change. I love it. GLD, very good. GLD is getting top of the zone. Why is GLD super interesting? Well, we told you that it needed to reject from like 305. What did it do instead? Never confirmed down the 2 hour. If the 2 hour confirms down here, you're going down. The 2 hour confirms down right here, you're going down to at least test this gap. And you're breaking through the structure a little bit more. I don't change my structures around to fit. A lot of people are drawing flags and things like that on gold. No, I saw the structure. I'm keeping the structure that I saw. I don't like to change it as much as other people. It does change. You can change it if that's how you like to see markets. This is how I like to do it. I like to see how it's consolidating, make some kind of like decision on where are the trends, and then see what happens. Gold, for the most part here, is probably going to see a 2 hour pullback, where potentially all the way down to 296. The reason for that is, well, the technicals are suggesting there's a 30-minute divergence, and you're at least going to see a 30-minute drop. So if you're not going to get some kind of massive pullback on the 2 hour for GLD down to here, well, then the 30-minute would say, hey, we could do this and then curl up. But we could also break that low and go down, right? So this was price action versus kind of technicals here, but the technicals do have a 30-minute divergence at the top for the MACD, 30-minute divergence on the RSI at the same time. So GLD looks like it's about to make some kind of downward move. And until we see how low that downward move can go, it would say, hey, if I want to take a reversal kind of trade, weekly expected move, monthly expected move, that kind of thing, okay, boom, there's my decision. And if it breaks that low, I feel very comfortable at that point, right? I would just want to make sure, like, if you see something like this, which is hard to do with GLD and how it's gapping all the time, if you see something like this, and it breaks that low, just look if it breaks through that high and you go, okay, yeah, that's not it, right? And then what do? Do you sell right here? It depends on how you're feeling about the trade. It depends on if you're break even or not, but a lot of the time you'll get what? A test again like this, and then this is where you kind of want to say, okay, I need to be out of that because we made a new high, and you say, thank you for at least coming back so I can break even, and then it curls up into positive territory. That's how you manage trades with price action. Still working on these videos, guys. I apologize for the delay in the course. I'm still working on those. But this is where you would manage your risk on potentially a retest. If you're scared of it already, though, that's saying, manage risk. If you take a downside play there. So very, very good for GLD to do this because it is harder to break down now. It is trying to really go positive. So you're very likely to continue. And now you're just wondering, okay, is this some kind of 30-minute pullback like this? Or are we going to see something worse and then see that curl back up? Because these two situations are very likely for GLD. And notice head and shoulders. This is how price action shows you how head and shoulders form. That's why we talk about, if you guys always were confused about me saying the right shoulder that could have been, it's usually a price action breakdown breaking a low or breaking a high, and then a retest is usually that right shoulder. So if we take that into consideration with the daily time frame, what is this going to be at the end of all of it? You are very likely to see a right shoulder that could have been. But is it right now? That was the question we were trying to answer. I will look at, if you're talking about Starbucks, I will look at Starbucks. What the hell were they doing? What is their company doing right now? What the hell is Starbucks doing? Also, Wolf, someone said Wolf. My dad talked to me about it. And apparently, like, all of his buddies, for some reason, own a ton of Wolf before that massive drop. And I went, it is what it is, but... And thank you guys for subscribing today. Sorry, I'm not saying thank you for subscribing, but thank you guys. Yeah, I was kind of just like, but it's super low, and if it doesn't go to zero, it might be worth, like, throwing an investment in there at some point. I thought that was pretty funny. I will look at Starbucks. Has anyone who can tell me what's going on with Starbucks and why I think their company is just being kind of weird right now? Also, not a bad look. If the 2-hour rolls down, that's bad. Apparently, they're like changing their employee dress code for no reason. That's happened to me at a job. They make you buy shit. If you don't like it, leave. Whatever. Just they're doing it in a shitty way. They're pissing off their employees. On the other side of that, I really, really don't like the business move of, and this is what tells me that Starbucks is kind of like a Walmart, in my opinion. I think Starbucks is a rich get richer kind of company. They do not care about their customer as much as you think. I mean, hell, they're charging $12 for a fucking latte, right? So now they're like charging people for water. They're charging people for bags. Anything that comes out of the door has a price tag on it. What does that tell you as someone who analyzes things? It tells you that they are not willing to not pass on any marginal loss onto the consumer. They want to. They want to not cut down on their margin. What did we say about Walmart? I think it's the same situation with Starbucks. So I'm actually, weirdly enough, I'm kind of bearish on Starbucks in the grand scheme of things. In the grand scheme of things, I am pretty bearish on Starbucks because they're doing bad business practices. And if they don't flip those, I'll be bearish on Starbucks until they flip their practices and eat margin and lower prices. Because there is what's happening. I'll show you what's happening and why their employees are going to be pissed. And I'll give you a situation why their employees are going to be pissed and why their customers are going to be pissed. So every single day, say someone has a habit of going to Starbucks every single morning and they buy a coffee. And then after, they get their coffee and they go, oh, by the way, can I get a water too? And let's say now Starbucks, I don't know what they're charging for it, but they're charging like $2 for a water. It's to pay for the cup, by the way. They don't care about the water. They care about the cup. The cup costs money, but it costs like cents, and they're trying to make a big margin off you to make money, right? They want the rich to get richer. That's what is really described there. So what happens is now that person's going to go either, you're an idiot and you buy water in a cup for $2. Stupid, by the way. Paying for water is just dumb, in my opinion. You literally can fill up a water bottle at your house and it will cost you 1 cent, if that. But either that's going to happen and Starbucks will continue to steal money from people at a high rate and them not even realize that all they're doing is continuing to pay for the inflation that they should be eating. Trump is 100% right with it. These companies should eat the inflation. That is what happened in history. But we have continued to pay higher prices as consumers for things that... Here's how I put it, and I'll show you guys an example. Where's my Twitter? I'll show you guys my example, because this is one thing that I thought was hilarious. Okay, so I'm going to show you this situation here. Okay, this guy. So yesterday I paid $40 for 3 tacos and a strawberry lemonade. This can't be the world I'm supposed to build a family in. This dude paid $40 for 3 tacos and a lemonade. Are you high? Like what? What are you talking about? You dictate whether a business survives or not. And if the price is shitty, then stop going there. My response to this was you still went and paid and you got what you ordered. Want things to get cheaper? Make that at home or find a different option. The sooner you refuse a business's prices, the sooner they have to change. If a dumbass is willing to pay $30 for 3 tacos, and that's probably not right. It's probably $35 for the tacos and $5 for your lemonade. $30 for 3 tacos, I would keep charging them $30 too if you were that stupid. Like that is what is going on with Starbucks right now that you don't even like know. If you're drinking Starbucks coffee, stop drinking it. Stop going there. That's it. Buy some milk, buy some sugar, make coffee at home, and guess what? It costs you $1 compared to $12. Okay, so I don't like Starbucks, but we'll talk about the technicals. For now, what have you seen? As far as the daily scale, what do you see? Well, in some way, we did very well here in the gap, right? We'll just mark that off kind of sloppy. We did well to hold up in the gap. That's fantastic. Why is this red? Oh, it's probably for my thumbnails. We did well in the gap. That's good. That's good. That means go. But what happened after that? You lost this low, right? So what does this mean could be coming for Starbucks? I think Starbucks could make the right shoulder that could have been soon. I think soon. Because you were able to peek your head above a lot of the resistances here. We could extend it up if we wanted to and say it's not out of it yet, but I really like this type of area. So for the time being on the daily chart for Starbucks, if the daily rolls, bad. If the daily crosses down right here and it confirms, bad. Look for a test of the low, if not making a new one. It's that simple. If this is going to be good, then we probably have to see a 2-hour curl up into positive territory here. And it's as simple as that. And then you want to make a new high, right? Start that uptrend. And if you see it pop off, what could be happening here? Well, in some form, you could be making the right shoulder that could have been. I'm not necessarily bullish on Starbucks. I don't think that technically it looks the best. It can change and get better, and we could curl up a weekly chart, and this thing could just pop off, son, but you have to take out this high to convince me that, Starbucks is a good buy. Like, I mean, maybe not a good buy. Like right now, I think it potentially could be. It's still holding the floor, right? But it's more like if you want this to go into a positive trend for a continued period of time, like the next, like say 2 years, you have to take out levels of 118.50. And I think they're doing a lot of things to piss off their customers where it doesn't make sense where that happens. But we'll watch the technicals because that's what I trust. As of right now, the technicals are saying what? Well, they're saying we just went negative. If you curl up into positive territory, but you reject from who? The sellers, according to our price action practices, the sellers here, you have sellers the whole way up. And so if at any time you see a daily divergence or a 2-hour divergence that just continues to go down, you can go down to lower prices, right? I think that the better buy for Starbucks, when they actually come to terms and say, okay, we're not going to screw over our customers anymore, I think you're going to be here or here. I think you're going to be down to what is that, $30, $35, or 40, I would say $50. Let's say $50. Those are areas where I would say, okay, they've felt the pain a little bit now. Maybe they're going to change their practices. If they don't change their practices, I'm not investing in the company. I do not invest in companies even. So there are moral reasons. There are moral reasons that I do not invest in companies. Just like there are moral reasons that I do not support certain companies. Those are my morals. I'm not going to push those morals onto you. If you're okay with everything, you see good technicals and you just want to invest in a stock, that's okay. I do not invest in companies that go against my morals. That's my personal decision. And if it goes against yours and we have different morals, that's perfectly fine. If you don't like a company because they're not doing DEI or doing DEI, don't care. You make your decisions. But I think investing and trading goes past I think investing and trading goes past just making money. I do not necessarily, I don't necessarily just trade to make money. I do it to support my family. And so if I would invest in something that I see as a morally bad company, then I'm not going to do it. But you do what you want with Starbucks. I think it's a perfectly fine thing to do. I don't think they're doing anything seriously immoral. I just think fiscally, they are not necessarily doing things that benefits customers, average people. And so I'm not going to invest in the company. I do not like to invest in companies that truly show their hand like, hey, we are trying to screw over customers. So I think you could see an upward move, and I think that you could at least see if you're going to reject from these sellers. That's what it looks like to me. If the daily chart crosses down, then I would expect a test of these lows, if not 68.46, as that was a nice line in the sand to hold you up. All right. Feeling good today. I'm feeling too good today. Someone stop me. I'm having fun. I can't say that anymore. It's Cody Co. What an a-hole. All right, guys. Apple's another one that like I trade this one all the time. I've never invested in Apple, weirdly enough. Because Apple still does things, but I understand the China thing is different. You actually improve lives of Chinese people, weirdly enough, so it's a little different. But Apple, for the most part, does this look good? Like, come on. Like, we could just say this looks bad, right? Right, Best Be Killer? Like, we could say this looks bad. Right? Yeah, this looks bad, right? Okay. What's the saving grace here? The saving grace here is on the 2-hour scale. This is crazy to say about Apple. But the saving grace here is you have the chance to still be moving overall sideways at a very vigorous rate for Apple. Because we have not seen a break of this low. We've only seen what? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. If we dictate this as a higher low, we didn't break that low, right? Nope. So this is strange. But the confusing part and why you could be in that kind of phase where you kind of do something like this and you get tight is just because you haven't made the new high here. You did it once, but the second time you weren't able to break through. So this could be the next opportunity where it tries to. And if it makes that new high, you're like, okay, we're going to keep heading up to where? Probably something like 225. And then I would watch for what? I would watch for it to exceed 225. I would watch for it to exceed 225. Maybe even head up into this little trend line. See it tap its head outside of here. Maybe even break that, right? And then come back, retest into the zone, maybe even hit the bottom of the zone to curl up, and then make the right shoulder that could have been. That's what I would really like for Apple. As far as the 30-minute stands, you have no divergence. As far as the 2-hour stands, you have no divergence. As far as price action goes, as far as technicals, the 2 hours negative, so you have to watch for roll downs. The 30-minute, I think, is just freaking negative, so it's very likely to continue. Apple has a lot of work to do, so it's a risky one. Right? It's a risky one. And I think they still have trouble because of the China tariff. So that's what I'd have to say about it. As far as it goes, if you really wanted to be like, which ones am I paying attention to? It's any ones that technically look better, like DJT, SoFi, Palantir. Even the SPY. I think the SPY looks better than Apple. So that's what I'd say about it for the time being. Like, ask me if we break this high or break this low, and we'll have more to say about it. Because if you break this low, you could downtrend to test the lows. If you break this high, you can go all the way up to like 230. I would say even 236, actually, right? Before you can pull back and make that right shoulder. So, but what do you need from Apple right now? You need to see it get its head above here. Once you get above here, you have some chances. And truly, once you get to the top of that zone or break it, that's better. But if you can hold price above here, that's really good. Higher lows, bro. Yeah, here's the thing about it too, Best Be Killer. You could say that right now because that's the things you see right now. But if this shapes up a 2-hour divergence at this low, like let's say you start to see this, right? You see up, and then it comes down, and then it goes right back up, and you see like a double bottom. that's when you can have more inclination, right? You have more reasons behind the trade. So, but as technicals stand right now, what you are saying makes the most sense to me because you're highly likely to reject on a 2-hour unless this good news just absolutely blows it through the water and makes a new high. So I understand what you're saying, and I think it's very good. I have 190 and 195 puts for next Friday. I wouldn't hope and I wouldn't be feeling too great about that just because look at the tech sectors right now. Look at the US 100 and just like it's going, man. So what you need to do is you need to roll like now and probably I think you have a chance to see a pretty good gap up. I think a lot of stocks, as far as the Mag 7, will see potential gap up. So we'll see what happens, right? We still have a full day where Trump could say, something else. Anyone holding calls on Tesla this week? I think Tesla looked great. Like, I don't, people were super bearish on this. And I was like, I mean, I get it, but it's holding price well. That's my problem with it. And we were talking about that megaphone type look, right? And we were like, you just don't want to get down to here. And really, you want to see like reaction up, probably even break through, then retest and go. But as it stands, look at the US 100 right now. It's up 1.54%. A lot of these stocks are probably pushing higher, and Tesla is a very, very vigorous stock. I would get weekly expected moves for Tesla. They actually don't work like the absolute best, but it will give you those decision-making opportunities. It will get it relatively right. It's just Tesla's a crazy ramp up, ramp down kind of stock. So Tesla could see like a 20-point move next week. Tesla could literally see a 20-point move on like Tuesday. And I would believe it. But you need to break this high. You tried to make the higher low on the 30-minute. You see that? And you were able to curl up. So you're really trying. And thankfully, you're not breaking these lows right here. So this is your attempt. Because what do you see? Lower low, lower low, lower low. Even though you're making higher highs, you still got lower low, lower low, lower low. So if you drop again and you make a new low, that could have been where it gets really bad, especially if these buyers fail in here. But notice this, the buyers step in right in here. You can see it, buyers. And then it starts to hold up. And what changes? Well, lower low, lower low, lower low, higher low. Boop, boop, boop. Maybe even a big extended move. Then you drop down and you go again. That's where you get that 2-hour move. So this is a higher low. It's not bad. This is actually when you say, all right, hey, maybe the trend's going to reverse around, right? Higher low is just as good as divergence, if not better sometimes, right? We said that on Patreon last week. We said that about a few of the stocks we were paying attention to, like SoFi. Very nice. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, you have to see if you understand those little price action things like, oh, lower low, wait, higher low. That's where this guy pops up, right? If you see a bunch of lower lows and then you go, wait a second, higher low. That's different. When it changes, you change, right? Because right here, what were you doing? You were going, oh yeah, okay, now we're gonna break through that high. Nope, oh, lower high. That's changing. That's changing, but then it changed right back. This is how fast you have to flip back and forth. One more question. Is way too degen being out the money at 400 call? Not if you're collecting premium, Fabian. Fabian, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something about call options, put options, all things like that. And I'll use an example of when I did it. I actually did this. Right here on this drop. Do you see this? So I did not think that we were going to crash on this Monday, that 19th. I didn't think we were going to crash. But I did think we were going to get some volatility. I said it was a very risky weekend to hold on to stock. So I said, let me buy that hedge-like position, and then I'm going to collect premium the next day. Do you know what happened? I took I took put options for SPY on the next Friday for like $1, like way the fuck down here. And I knew that everyone was reading into stock market crash. So do you know what I did? I collected their premium as they bought the shit out of it. As demand went up, that dollar turned into $3. So all I did was saw it open up lower and I said, I know what I'm doing here. I'm collecting premium. I don't think we're crashing because we're not seeing a massive gap. So I just said, give me the $3. That's all I did. Made a quick grand. That's collecting premium. That means I'm not necessarily thinking that my strike price will get hit, but I'm thinking that my strike price is about to go up in demand, which is going to cause the price of that option to, or those contracts to go up. Okay? So with something like Tesla, let's talk about that. So this would mean what? If Tesla overall, or the market overall, was bearish, well, let's see if the market overall was pretty bearish on Friday. PCC came out at, oh, it is moving. See, I freaking told you. Why was it moved again? But PCC, apparently, is this moving right now? On Friday, apparently was 0.94. We see now, for summer, it's showing you 1.15. So people are still shorting this thing. People were going to the short side. Okay, so if this is down here, call options usually are in high demand already. You're not going to see that premium grab potentially happen. That's what happens a lot of the time. If it's way down here, it's hard to grab premium on call options. They're in high demand. But if you're up here and you see things shifting to where it's going to be down here, well, then you can say, okay, I'm going to buy that for $1. And then by the time that people want it, it'll be $3. And you don't care if that strike gets hit. You just want to make some money off the play. Right? We're not trying to get rich quick. We're trying to do good behavior over time. So for Tesla, this means that if I pay attention, let's say the pricing of the options, let's just look at it real quick. How big of a move do you need to see to at least, like, say, you know, make a double or make 50%? We said Friday, correct? For 400. So I think that your 400 calls will be at least worth, probably at open, a double. Because you're going to see the increase from the price potentially going up. You have to see where Tesla is actually at. But also, people are going to demand 400. 400 is a whole number. It's good. It's a little far out there. So hopefully you don't have like a ton of contracts, right? If you have too many contracts, you're going to have a hard time getting filled if no one's paying attention to that strike. But as far as it stands, if you have like, I would say 20 or less, or even probably 50 or less, you're probably fine. I have a gazillion contracts. Oh, shit. Well, I would attempt to sell them at any point and collect premium. That's just my style of things with those type of moves. If you want to do what you want to do and it's looking good and you follow the price action all week and it still continues to look good, I understand. But you can see an overreaction where if, like, say, this gapped up to, say, like 360, people might actually be reaching out to 400 and you might see it worth $1. That's crazy, but it can happen. You might see it worth $2 randomly because it's Tesla. It's a beast. All right. So I would say just make money off the play and treat it more like a premium one, because 400 is just very unlikely for this month. 400 is very unlikely for this week. 400 becomes more likely next month, weirdly enough, for Tesla. Nvidia, let's go over Nvidia. We're trying to take our time with these guys. Nvidia's in the same boat, right? Nvidia's in a similar boat, but what did it do that was different from from Tesla? Well, it was doing what? It was making those higher highs and making lower lows, right? But it never made the higher low. So what do you have here, though, to kind of lean on? If you were saying, oh, okay, I don't necessarily, is the bleeding up? Weirdly enough, I mean, this isn't divergence. It's getting very thin. You're more likely to continue to go into what? Serious buyers at this point for Nvidia. So we'll see if Nvidia is participating in this run. I wonder if anyone could see that. right now. I'm not really trying to look at those kinds of things, but for the most part, tech's doing really good and Nvidia is very popular. So what do you need to see from Nvidia for it to go back? Like, how do you know, hey, I have an option a month out. Can I hold on to that a little bit longer by staring at a 30-minute chart? Well, the 30-minute chart would say take out this high, and then you're very likely to do what? Continue the move, right? And then if you break this high, you can bump that up to a 2-hour and say, hey, we're very likely to continue the move. And then you sit there and you go, okay, well, if we see a crazy move this week and I just want to collect the premium, I don't really want to deal with it anymore, well, then you'd be looking at your weekly expected moves. Okay, you'd be looking at a weekly expected move or key levels like 140 to 145. 140 to 145 throughout this week would be fantastic for Nvidia. The 2-hour is not negative, so that's not a bad thing. I'm just discussing the 30-minute was showing all of those pathways down. And it was starting to ramp up, right? You start to do that kind of move. Problem. You also have earnings coming up. I don't want to necessarily like discuss earnings to a T, because earnings to me is a lot of the time, as far as technicals go, a 50-50 flip. As far as price action goes, usually you can read into it a little, but you have to be able to withstand the volatility or know the play to take after that implied volatility subsides a little bit. Because it's sometimes you can get theta burned and things like that during earnings very quickly. Like if you have a short, but it goes up for a day, then goes down, this area here can do a lot of damage to that position. All right. So just be cautious with it, right? It's earnings. There are other opportunities out there for simpler trades, in my opinion. We've given those out on Patreon multiple times. We don't need to do that again. As far as price action stands, this says, as we see it right now, with no extra price or anything like that, what is this overall saying? Nvidia is still continuing the downtrend. Nvidia is rejecting from the sellers. Nvidia is trying its best right now to hold up in the one place where it has a chance, which is this tiny little area right here. I'll even mark it off for you because we're going to make that video in the full technical analysis course. Right there, you have a fair value gap. It barely held within it. And that's the only area that I can see Nvidia attempting to come back, and you don't have divergences or anything to help you out. So this one would say risky because I don't have my 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. Now, if you're just swing trading and you see a break above this high, it's kind of like the swing trade is on, and then that thing could scale up, right? But you have that E. So there's a lot of risk with Nvidia this week of seeing crazy things. And people think a stock is going to make a crazy move, and that means they can make money. They already probably have it priced into the implied volatility for Nvidia, just so you're aware. But if you wanted a good level for bullishness, for like, hey, maybe at this point I want to go a little risk off if my option doesn't have that much time, I would say 140 to 145. If you get that tag any point this week, 140 to 145 would be a fantastic area to watch. I don't think it's a bad price for the 2-hour. Don't get it twisted, Best Be Killer. The 30-minute is continuing the downtrend. Yeah, the 2-hour is still positive, and the 2-hour is doing what it needs to do to go up, but we haven't seen that price action. Okay, so when you're wondering like, why am I bearish, say on the 30-minute, the price action tells me to, and the technicals aren't telling me to pay attention to much, right? There's nothing going on down here that I like. Look at the 30-minute. Look how deep that is. All it has to do is do this and drop again. But if you scale it out, this is why if you're doing price action, usually you don't want to like bounce around too much. You want to execute a trade on the time frame that you're viewing. Okay. This is something that will clear up in the course. You want to, with price action, stick to that time frame. You don't want to move time frames too much. You maybe want to look at other time frames to look at trend and things like that. But overall, it's like if I'm doing a 5-minute, doing day trading using price action, I'm doing a 5-minute all day. If I'm doing a 30-minute and doing it based on price action to take like 2-3 DTE options, okay, I need to execute on the 30-minute and make sure that I'm paying attention to what's going on in that time frame. Okay? Good. Now, as it stands here, this is bad for the 30-minute. But if I was doing my technicals or my price action on a 2-hour, it would say that really this isn't bearish and buyers could step in anywhere in these type of areas. Like this, all of this is your 2-hour levels to be watching. And that's why we use the smaller timeframes in our other skills, like a weekly expected move is down at this gap fill and you're going to see a bounce. Okay, we could utilize that, right? We can use our other skills and put them together at that point because this is a big area to watch. How far could Nvidia drop if you want a level in case you see a mean drop? I'd be looking. I really like the top of this zone, to be totally honest. I just like the top of this zone. This whole area right here is very, very nice. That's the area I would be watching if I was going to experience a drop here. And you want to make a decision. I mean, that's the area I'd be looking for the 3 to 5 reasons. Let's go look at this. Someone's like, oh, futures, they're dropping. Well, yeah, they're going to retrace the move, but what happened? Where's it going to drop to? Can you guys figure it out? Here, let's do 2 hour. Let's do this on the 2 hour because this is much better. Where's it going to drop to? Where's like the only place it really wants to drop to, truly? It's right here. If it holds above this, it's good. We can watch it. We can leave it there, but it's going to take us a few hours. As of right now, your 30-minute, as far as futures goes, I don't like to pay attention to a 30-minute on like SPX 500 or US 100, just personally. I don't like to. I think that you get better sense of direction from 2-hour and 4-hour charts using any kind of like futures, anything that trades more than regular trading hours, like fully, like Bitcoin and things like that. Look at Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin, we were like, yeah, look at the 2-hour divergence. Okay, it's going to cross through that high. Now what's it going to do? Well, probably come back down into these type of areas right here, which isn't that exactly what we're saying for kind of the SPX 500. If you lose that and you lose that low, it changes. But we were suggesting over the weekend that you had 2-hour divergence forming. That ended up confirming on a big-ass bar. You take it above the high. It might retest in that to go higher. It might not. Bitcoin's kind of a monster. So I like the look of the market right now. Why? It just made a new high. It made a new high. And where did we go into? Why was the 4-hour on, say, futures better, right? Still bullish. Well, because where'd the buyers step in? Right here. And they, guess what? They stepped in. You had a big amount of buyers in here. You could have held up anywhere in there. Boom. Great stuff. I like it. What else we got out there, homies? We look at Mara. We haven't looked at Mara in a minute, dude. Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. Oh, okay. All right. No. Don't get it twisted. This isn't that bad, actually. You're making a bunch of right shoulders that could have been. You're building a lot. So you're going lower, right? Then you see it get above this. That's one. That is the first step that says this is back and trying to be bullish. You peek your head above, you fool around, you dip down into what? Look at this. You dip down into what? This is why you mark off gaps and stuff like that, right? You mark them off and you go, okay, we're going to dip down into here. If you were going to hold up better, where would you have went into? Seeing continued price action over time from this 4-hour chart. Let's look at a 2. You could have held up like right in here too, but you kind of did. So for the time being, you're holding up in there. You're making what, a higher low. That's fantastic. Now what's going on? Well, we kind of peaked our head above. We lost this low, but is it that worrisome or is it just going to do what it did over here? Where's it going to go? Look in here, right there. That'd be great. Get down into there. When is it bad? You lose that zone, you lose the low. Lose that zone, lose the low, retest those sellers, then you go down further. But what's overall happening with Mara right now seems all right. I'm not going to lie. Why? Because right now, bam, you even took out that. So what could you be doing in the grand scheme of things? What could you be doing? Let's look at a daily. You could be getting the daily pullback that sets up what? right? Shoulder that could have been. And at this point, you can use your other skills and say, hey, if we lose that low, is it impossible for this MACD to turn back up? Well, let's see how aggressive that gets. And if it turns up, we need to never see rejection. It needs to cross up into positive territory. Right? Mara doesn't look that bad. It might even give you an opportunity soon. That'd be sick. I have a Patreon. I just don't have enough time for Discord at this moment. I'm really thinking about it, though. I'm really thinking about switching things over to a Discord because people can more chat in there, I think, a little bit easier. So I'll still, I always say I'm thinking about it. I've said that for like 3 months straight now. It's just I can't put together the time for it. I know some people offered to maybe help me make it, which I might appreciate that. I might have to link up with some of you guys. Let's see here. Let's look at Meta, and then we'll take a peek over at SMCI, okay? Ryad, can you mention it again in a bit? And then RGTI. Just mention them after we get through Meta. Meta, let's just look at the daily time frame and see where we're at. Left. Head. Oh, where's our right shoulder? Oh, we broke through. There's no way we're going to make that. Except for the times where you actually do confirm down and then you make that right shoulder. So this is what I think will happen for Meta. It's just, does this happen first? Right? And then from this, you'll probably see, go to those all-time highs, son. Unless you run into something bad towards the fall. But let's look at the 2 hour. 2 hours, this very, like, do technicals say, hey, if this curls up, it's going to be a negative move. It's not going to be able to go positive. No, it says I'm able to go positive. So for Meta, you notice there was no 2 hour divergence at the top. There was no 2 hour divergence on your MACD either. For the RSI or MACD, no divergence. So as far as those stand, we're good. What does the 2 hour have to lose to be bearish? Right here is where you start to have that bearish hat on the table, not necessarily on, right? Because if you see a wave of selling and then it goes up and rejects, that's where you put your bear hat on. For the time being, though, it really looks like what? It looks like that 2 hour wants to curl up. So let's look at a 30-minute and really look at this. Do we have no... Actually, maybe even hourly chart would be good. Not a 1 minute. Jeez, guys, we're not degens like that. I thought the hourly would have shaped it up. Unfortunate. 30-minute here. This is a bad rejection. Oh, is it though? You didn't really have any fair value anywhere. Okay, not bad. You just don't want to make a new low. I know that's like terrible and not the best price action analysis, but you don't want to lose that low. You don't want to lose this little wick right here. You can come test it. You don't want to lose it. If you make a divergence here, it's probably not going to be that good. So what you want to see for Meta is that cross above and take care of all of this. If you do that right now, you have the chance to do what? Continue an uptrend with a retest. The 2 hour scale has not lost the critical level and it's right by that center line. So you're still looking at what as far as risk goes? You're still looking here, like literally at that wick. But if you can wipe out this entire bar, it starts to come back pretty well. So if the 30-minute says, I'm up, oh, now I'm retest, and then you see it curl up again on that 30-minute, it's very likely you're going to make a new high here. Yeah, I don't mind Meta. We got to see how these things open up on Tuesday. I'm not the believer in like, hey, yeah, futures did this, so we have to open up there. That's what got people a lot into trouble last week, I believe, with the Moody's downgrade. A lot of people got in a lot of trouble financially with that shit. Okay, sorry. Markets are closed. That is right. They are closed. You are correct, sir. Yeah, got you. That happens, okay? That happens. Well, here's what I'll tell you, Will. Here's a good hint as far as psychology with the market goes. We'll do it again. We've done this before, and people really enjoy this, okay? Okay. This is where Twitter people live. This is where Twitter people live. Twitter lives in the huge pendulum shifts. Twitter lives in the drastic. Twitter lives in the drama. Okay? So this means for us, we don't want to be dramatic. And there's a saying that I want to type out for you here. There's two sayings I really like. And one of them I have a tattoo for, but it's not the saying we're going for here. The saying that I really like in this situation is, maybe it isn't, if I can type it, it isn't as bad or as good as people think. You always want to have this kind of stance. You always want to be this. Do you know who is that guy? That's this guy. So this guy lives in here. He looks for people. He looks for this to get down here. And then he looks for people to go crazy. And then he buys stuff over here. And then you go through all that cycle again. And then everyone goes crazy over here. And then he goes, I'm looking back over here. And he just sits in this area. Never getting too drastic. Never getting too drastic. And guess what? Every once in a while, these people will be right. And he'll be like, I see the signs here. The technicals are good. Price action looks good. And then Trump will say some shit and be like, wham. And then what does this guy do? This X here moves over. This X here was here. What do those people think on the end here? Now they think this. And this guy goes, we'll probably revert back to here, and maybe I just want to take my money. So everyone else will reach out even further, or FOMOers get involved, and these guys go all the way over here. But overall, this guy just goes, okay, sick. I was a part of the big play. I made good money. Goodbye. I'll wait for this thing to calm down. Then you see some kind of crash, and he goes right back to the middle, and he goes, okay, let me wait for good info. Let me be patient. He doesn't have to play anything here. That's a great trade. That's how psychology works in the market, truly. You don't want to be the guy that's thinking of the extremes all of the time. I think there is an extreme crash coming, right? I think there is an extreme crash coming. Am I taking bearish bets at every single? Am I taking absolutely crash bearish bets every single time I see daily divergence, or am I still practicing good behavior? Just because I have a theory, a consensus, an argument in my head, and facts maybe to prove me right, does not mean I know the timing. Does not mean that it cannot be irrational for longer than I remain solvent. So I usually go into markets like this. Maybe it isn't as bad or as good as people think. It's a very good statement. I should get it tattooed on my chest with my no regrets tattoo. You will get a spike of inflation, but the only people who dictate if that inflation sticks is you, Lee. You are the person who dictates if the inflation will stick or not. 2020 was a paradox. It was weird. The 2020 prices, like the prices going up from 2020, should not be this high right now. But because consumers have said, I am willing to pay X times 2, I used to pay X, now I will pay 2X, and I will continue to pay 2X. What is that company going to do? They're greedy, guys. They want your money. That's the whole point of being a company, is to make money, especially when you're a publicly traded one that needs good prices over time to continue to get investments. They will continue to do it. What you need to be doing right now is, if you are still going to McDonald's, go make burgers at home. If you are going to get Chick-fil-A like I do sometimes, we still make most of our food at home. And we're pretty well off. Like, I'm blessed. I'm a blessed person. And we still do those things. Netflix wanted to upgrade and make me upgrade to get advertisements. I said, no, I'll keep the cheaper price. And then Netflix wanted to increase that price. And I just said, what am I really watching on Netflix? Nothing. I got rid of it. I want to tell you, I used to have Peacock. I used to have Netflix. I used to have Hulu. I used to have Amazon. I used to have Amazon Prime. I used to have one or two other ones. I think we used to have like Paramount or Disney or whatever the hell. Do you know how much money that is? I am someone who is very active and thinking, am I using this? If not, why am I paying for it? Is this giving me my value? If not, why am I paying for it? Am I doing this thing too much so it is taking away my ability to actually experience good things like time with my family? Am I addicted to it? Get rid of it. YouTube is free. YouTube is free. You just gotta watch a couple ads. Now, I don't like ads, so my brother actually, we have a premium joint account. We still don't do things. We still do not pay full price each for things. We find a way to get it cheaper. That is the style of thinking you need to have. And that is the style of thinking that convinces companies we're losing money, get rid of our price point, cut some margin. We need to sell stuff or we're going out of business. That's Walmart. Walmart will not do what they said in their earnings call. They will not do it. They will not succeed as a company. Meta, for the most part, though, 2 hour curls up, break that high, you can go higher. And I think you'll see a whole new sequence here. I think you could see at least a 2 push higher. So you got to see how price opens up and then ask me on Tuesday. A lot of these will be ask me on Tuesday, but we can still try to read into them with the price action we have. Yeah, Lee, that's just something I wanted to point out to you, Lee. You guys have way more power than you think. You guys actually have all the power for Starbucks. You guys have all the power for Walmart. You guys have all the power. And you might think people paying those things, right? And you not paying those things is maybe dumb, right? You're missing out. What are you missing out on? Paying extra for things? An hour's worth of your time to cook to save $20 every single day? Like if you go out to eat every single day, it costs you $20 a day. If you eat at home, it'll cost you $3 a day. And you might think that that's the more expensive thing, but it's technically not. And you might have to do things as far as grocery stores goes and shop around a little bit. We do that. My wife, it's one of her hobbies. She used to be a couponer. Exactly, Lee. And what you're talking about is the resilience of the consumer, the ability to continue to take on debt. That is a big thing. So what happens is we extend those margins. We extend those margins because we're willing to go into debt to continue to buy things that we don't need. That's just how it works. The Switch literally said, oh, we're increasing the price by like $150 or whatever they did. And then everyone on Twitter was like, we're never buying it. It sold out in the first like week. What was the other one? Someone wanted to look at like RGTI, right? RGTI looks, oh yes, we did it. Nice, okay. So RGTI is coming up into this area. This is just fantastic. This is what we need to break through to go higher. And actually I need to pull that slightly up. We need to include that wick. This is fantastic. Now, this is my risky area, right? But is the daily overbought? No. Do we see any weakness from the 2 hour? No. So this is very likely to continue. Now, it can see pullbacks and things like that, but this says over the next couple of weeks, we're going to try to do this. And if we do it, that would be fantastic. It would just be great. All right. That's as far as I go with RGTI. Make a new high right here and then keep making those new highs. Right, we're already doing it. Now come down and retest those buyers and go higher. Or go higher first, make that high, then retest them, right? William and Kevin, thank you guys so much for joining today. I said, yeah. I said like, oh, I got rid of Disney Plus or whatever. I think we got it for like one show or like we got Paramount or something for Ink Master because we love Ink Master. Oh my God, I love Ink Master. I think it's so sick. We didn't cover any nuclear energy or anything like that. I'm not the most focused on energy stocks at the moment. I mean, we can go take a peek at some stuff. If you have a ticker, though, I'll look at it for you. Truth is out there, okay? Oh, yeah, you guys wanted to look at this, too. RGTI, though, from the 2 hour scale, you see that it might need a pullback. It's very likely to just be a pullback, by the way. And you actually, I don't even know if it pulls back right now. You already retested the buyers. Let's look at 30-minute. 30-minute, you have inclinations of some selling, but look how much distance you have here. I'm not convinced that RGTI is just a complete rip down. I think it could go retest buyers at any time of something like $12. And then I think it has another trend move up for itself to try to make a move into this zone a little deeper. So I would say pullback is the most probable thing here to go find some buyers. Where would those buyers be? They're either going to be in this bar right here, or they're going to be in this bar right here. And you'd be looking for signs, right? You'd be looking for 30-minute divergence or something like that. You do have 30-minute divergence at the high here. So we have to talk about, hey, the 2-hour could go retest critical levels. When does this get bad? When RGTI loses this low at 1078. That's when it starts to get a little scarier, right? And if you're being honest about it, you would say like loses this, maybe even carries down and loses that next one over here at 986. Then it comes to retest, and then you roll that. That's when this starts to get bad. All right. Some people want to look at uranium. That's right. Let's see if you had any signs that this could turn around. All you had was a MACD divergence. On the daily scale, I like to pay attention to these things. I think uranium's going to get a pullback. Now, I don't see uranium's price right now. I would love to see the price, but the more likely thing is the next opportunity is what? At gap fill. What have you done? Well, you have a left. Okay, here. I'll draw it out for you completely, right? We're really trying to help you guys out today. Right? Completely free. We made it public. We almost made it a private stream today, so hopefully you guys appreciate the public stream if you're not doing anything today like me and it's a freaking rainy day. Just in case some other people had some rainy days, I wanted to make it public. We might start making some private streams like this on like Sundays or something like that for Patreon members. We do see that this high was taken out. That is great. And the other thing is you're going right into another zone, which is just like zone to zone, man. This is just, that's just great. Because you can see the behavior from the past too, how it rejects off the center of that zone. This is the video we're putting out soon. I'm going to try to finish up one of them today. I think I can really finish and put that out there. I would say by this weekend, we should be able to put both of those out in the course, okay? It's 80% off right now, guys. The sale ends in like, what, 4 days, 5 days? So get it while it lasts. But this is very good. You see the rejection from here. What's different? You're taking it back now. Okay, so let's get rid of that zone so we're just clear on where we're at and what's most likely here. The most likely thing is this thing is screaming. You want it to just keep, keep ripping, I guess, uranium. Keep ripping. Or the more likely thing is we showed the way higher. This is going to be some heavy resistance initially. So if you break through that, you can hold up better, right? If you make the highs above here, you can hold up better, all right? But the next opportunity is most likely down in these levels because you already showed the left. You already made the head. You had a daily divergence on the MACD only, right? Not 3 to 5 reasons, but maybe you had 3 reasons here. It just says, hey, lower that position size. That's how I treat it. If I have 3 reasons to take a trade, I just don't use the biggest position size. If I have 4, I use a little bit bigger. If I have 5 or more, I just go, let's do it, man, and let's focus on it because we're risking money here. That's how I like to do it. And we cross through this high, meaning we're showing somewhat of a pathway higher. You even see that here. So technically, uranium could drop down to here, and it would be bullish, and you would see left head and right shoulder. Now, here's the scarier thing. You want to see something scary? Uranium could go all the way down to here and still be bullish. I know. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Pretty crazy. What we mentioned that at the beginning of the year. I said nuclear. I think Trump will go into nuclear. That was just a like a one-off statement. And I go, I think he's going to go into nuclear power plants. Yeah, I think that this looks really good though. So now that you know that this is a good thing for uranium, you'd say either pop off, son, but you'd be looking for the daily pullback to possibly even see get in because look at the trend, man. Look at your technicals. That thing is so damn positive. So positive, right? The last time we went so positive, well, really it was here, right? That turned into a lower high. You always want to watch for that, right? And then you break the low. And then what do? Well, if you have a really long outdated option, you're using a daily chart. Hopefully you at least held for some kind of bounce or this bounce up here, but maybe your theta decay here ruined you. So you have to think in those situations what's best for you. If you're trading a daily chart, retests are going to take a long time. All right. So if you're trading a daily chart, you don't necessarily want to see it break the low and be like, yeah, I'm going to get a retest tomorrow. No, it'll take its time. Just be aware of that if you're trading daily charts. The other thing, though, is you're very likely to continue the move in some way. Notice that right here, we continued the move in some way. It ended up making a lower high, so you don't want to see a lower high, right? And that's unfortunate because you saw pathways higher here. So you have to see if it's not doing the things it needs to do to go up, right? Because the game changes. This says pathway higher, so we're going to go make a new high. Oh, lower high. We broke the low. It's bad, right? You have to be that reactionary. That's why reacting is a very, very good thing. So for the time being, though, look how positive the move is. So you should assume that it will continue. But will it continue right now? And the answer here is FOMOing is usually, I like to say the simplest answer is usually the right one. Is FOMOing usually a good idea? No. So the simpler answer there is if I'm seeing something that could potentially be a very massive upward move and I'm just experiencing FOMO, acknowledge that for myself and say, I'm not going to buy it even if it goes up. It's just what I do. I don't like to buy things when they go this positive, this quick, this big of a move. It's not my thing. I missed out on the move. I didn't believe in the technicals with just the 3 reasons down here, and I pay for it, right? With my hindsight. With my hindsight, I can beat myself up, or I can say, I didn't trust it then. When would I trust it again? If we pulled back and then we curled back up, you could see left head, right shoulder, and that's where you're going to make an attempt to test these levels. That would be best case for an actual opportunity. It could just scream off right now. I don't think for myself, I try not to do this kind of behavior while trading. I try not to FOMO at any point. Oh, SMCI, that was the one. SMCI, let's go look at that. Thank you for mentioning it again, because we did have a couple people asking about it. SMCI is not in a bad spot as far as the, I would say, daily chart goes. You have done what? All of these things, like notice almost across the board, we're seeing a lot of pathways higher for a lot of things. Maybe not always from daily timeframes, but a lot of daily timeframes, right? Even the SPY, the Qs, they're all showing pathways higher. So you are technically looking for a daily pullback to do what? To create that right shoulder. And the structure here is fan-freaking-tastic, actually. Because you created this block in here, and you created like almost another block right here. It's very, very nice, okay? So what are you doing? You're getting above the level you need to get above. You see the left now. You see the head, you mark this off and you say, let's go retest those buyers or fill that gap, and then we can turn back up. And you have the right shoulder that could have been. Very nice. I think price action-wise, it looks good. I think that the MACD is telling you, like, hey, we're a little close to the center line, but not close enough to be like, oh yeah, I'm just worried about a crash right now. You overall holding up well with higher lows. I would say maybe on weekly standard, and you're making the pathway higher. So look for it to give you an opportunity. As far as the 2-hour goes, it really looks like the 2-hour wants to continue higher first. And this is very, very deep. So if you see a new high here, I would be looking for triple divergence, weirdly enough. This is such a spread out move that you can see how if it got tight, what would it do? It might create something like this over time. And we might see like boom, drop, boom, drop through. And most likely you'll see it like you want to see it kind of like this, where it goes, it drops through, breaks that low, then you get the retest, then you go down. This is what would most likely lead you into a daily pullback, actually. And notice how much time it will take. That means that we could not be pulling back until, for SMCI, until like June 20th, which actually is good. I kind of think I want stocks to run as closely to OPEX as possible. We did go over Apple A little bit. Apple would be more of the speculative one. Okay. So we went over that a long time ago. It's going to be hard for you to find. Apple is much more a like the 2 hour hasn't lost the low. It continues to make higher lows, but it hasn't made the next higher low yet. And you've failed to make the previous, you've actually made a lower high on the upside. So you're kind of in the gray area there. You're in between. Okay. So you're in between those areas for Apple. SMCI, this is what looks good. The 30-minute is not really suggesting that you have to turn around right now. So what level do you want to take back for the 30-minute? You just want to take back this clump in here. I would look for, actually, really, you kind of want to wipe out these sellers too. So I would say you really want to see a move above here. You really want this kind of action to take place to beat this high in some way. If you do not beat the high and you start to see that roll, watch for your 2 hour because that 2 hour might be failing at that point. Okay, let's clear that up and then go over to Apple just to double down on it. No reversal signals from the 30-minute, no signals, nothing. You got nothing. It's not tapering off. It's not, it looks really like you can't look at this and see it doing the stair stepper down. Break this low, retest, head lower. Break this low, retest, head lower. Break this, break this low, break this low. You already broke that low. Not even a good retest and head lower. You're just going down and down and down. So let's zoom out on it. On the 2 hour, you're like, okay, is this MACD in a place where it can go positive? I would say yes, but does it have the ability from the positioning of the MACD to really say like, yeah, we're going to take out this high and head higher as you just made a lower high? You're still making higher lows, but you don't know if this is a higher low yet. And so what I was thinking here was maybe Apple's going to go through a period where it kind of ping-pongs back and forth, right? Does this. This would be invalidated by what? A break of this low or a break of this high. So if it breaks that high, so this is what I think might take place. But if it breaks that high, then you would be looking for what? Well, we really would want that to extend. We would want that to really extend, right? You might want to see like boom, boom, boom. And then you come down to that area and you don't lose this low while showing a pathway higher out of the zone. That's what I would like to see for Apple to get bullish. How do we get bearish though, right? We like to be aware of both sides. We talked about potentially seeing a uproar up into the trend and then pulling back as well. That would be good. If you lose this low though, you're testing the extreme lows. That opens the door to really scary things. Apple still has doors open for scary things, just so you're aware. So I like to trade Apple. I think it's a fun stock. I think it moves really well, but I'm not necessarily, and I haven't really been able to execute the best trades on Apple lately, right? And I think a lot of that in 2025 is because of the connection to these tariffs, right? So I'm not really looking at Apple too much. I think it's more complex. I think there's way easier opportunities out there. Even 2 hour swing trades look easier. That also gives MACD time to turn. Exactly, yeah. Should we say upside coming? Well, if you want to see if you should see upside coming, you'd more want to ask right now, am I seeing upside now? And you are. Did I do the things that I need to do to go up? You did. You went positive on the MACD. You went across the center line for the RSI. You broke through this high just barely. So where are you looking? You're looking right in here. If we can hold up in there and not turn down the 2 hour, we're looking pretty good. If we turn down the 2 hour, test of the lows, you're looking for a higher low in some way. But I think you want to hold up in this area to remain just extremely bullish to get through these sellers. That's what I think. That's true. I guess we could have looked at, like, is gold futures going? Yeah, gold futures is going. Yeah, gold futures is going. Where's my 2 hour actually? So you see the 2 hour divergence, see how it equates to almost that 30-minute divergence for GLD? And look at this. This is great. This is great. So when are you overall, like the trend is going down, you have to lose this. You have to go wham, and then you have to use this area as resistance to head lower. Because for gold, remember how we talked about it, even if it wants to break down here, you still have to be aware of different time frames and say, where did the buyers step in seriously? They stepped in very seriously right here. So even if you see a 4-hour curl down, you're even getting 4-hour divergence. So, the technicals here are saying there's weakness. Watch for the trend to reverse around. Which could be good things for the dollar, which could be good things for the market. So that means that this daily curl up might fail today, weirdly enough. So if you want to remain like bullish on gold, you need to see, at least for futures, I'd probably be looking at an hourly chart today. Because you probably, no, nothing. So yeah, this is doing everything it needs to do. Now it needs to reject from the sellers in here. Already slightly is. And then see what happens around these buyers. Yeah, you're in a weird spot where gold's like has a bunch of reverse signals saying like, at least gold futures say like, we're turning down. But GLD has a little different look like, hey, yeah, it's just going to be a 2-hour or 4-hour pullback. Very nice. Thank you, Team Trading Strategies. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Hope you're having a good day. Yeah, I love your sunshine emoji or whatever, but it's all rain over here and it sucks. It's pouring. I don't know the ticker for Big Bear. Is that BBAI? BBAI? Am I wrong? No, I'm all right. Okay, cool. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. But the divergence gotcha here. Potential divergence, you would say. Overall, you're just saying, hey, there's weakness here. Even highs, 2-hour can cross down from this, 2 hours crossing down from this. Have you lost what you need to lose to go down? No, not yet. You're going back down into what? The buyers. Okay. So if you lose this low, you get a little bit more worried, truth be told. The 30-minute for now, you already broke this. So if you react up and you reject, that's where you start to break down. All right. So one more curl up, you see positioning the MACD, right? Using our technicals, and then that rolls down. That's not a good sign. So what do you need to see here? You need to see a new high as far as price action stands, but also you need the 30-minute to never roll back down. Like if we see an upward move with Big Bear, you don't want that 30 minutes to roll down until you take out this high. Because once you roll down below that high, it's still saying price action is going, you have a high chance to break this 345. Thank you for shouting out the ticker, but I like remembered. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've looked at this before. That's what I would mostly say about this. Let me look at daily time frame, by the way. Yeah, you don't want to fail here. I don't think you want to fail here. Yeah, you do not want to fail here. You want this to go up. If you start to fail, that's a problem because you've already done what you need to do. Yeah, you made pathway higher on this move. You made the right shoulder before making the pathway higher, so you want this to ramp up. You want this to go. This needs to go. If it doesn't go, I'm very sad about it. You need this to go. If not, you might come all the way down and test these lows for those gaps. So yeah, I would really be looking for that 30-minute to curl up and make sure it makes that new high and even beats this high at the end of it all. If it needs 2 moves to do it, okay. But yeah, you need to see positivity here. Market is open. No, technically no. Futures and stuff are open. AMD, go check on that. And thank you guys for being here today. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah, if you're having trouble understanding any of this, guys, like this is the place to right now. Like right now's the time. Ask about the course. There's plenty of people in the chat who you can ask. You don't have to hear it from me. I know I'm a scumbag because it's worth money, but hey, there's other people that have taken it too, and it's really helped them out. So, take my things with a grain of salt. Maybe you can ask someone in the chat if you're thinking about getting that course. Now's the time to ask about it, guys, on a day where the market's not open and I'm sitting here with you, right? So I can answer any of your questions. As far as it stands for AMD, I still want to see deeper prices, right? I still want to see deeper prices of this. You don't have to, but I would like to. I still think that AMD needs the daily pullback at some point. And that means that I'm going to seriously pay attention to what kind of level, actually the downside, just the good structure. I would love the good structure here to say we're dipping down as low as we can, and then we're going to ramp up with that cheap price and people are going to buy this thing. That's what I want. The 2 hour. The 2 hour here would suggest you're kind of in that neutral area, right at the middle, a little bit low. So you'd say, ooh, watch out for rejection, but it's so close to the center line that right when it curls up, it's positive. So if you're able to wipe a lot of this out and show a new high, that's great. This would mean if this curls up, I can take a chance with it because it's going to curl up on like 1 bar. I can say, okay, go, 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 as long as I'm not at a weekly expected move. Then maybe I hit a weekly expected move and I expect a pullback. But if I have an extended out option, I just be like, okay, am I retesting buyers to head higher? Or am I breaking the low and then retesting to head lower? That's as simple as I can make it for AMD. I'm not like bearish on AMD. I don't think that's the right thing to be right now. I think your 30-minute would have an argument for that, obviously. Your 30-minute would say, yeah, be freaking bearish. But it just depends on how tight you're playing these type of things. And we have to see how price opens up in the morning. So overall, I think you could see a 2 hour extended move, just like the other one we were talking about. Big space here. So get another rip, dip, rip. Watch out, right? Watch for it to get tight too. Right, something like that. That would be very interesting. And then you get the daily pullback. You know, and these things can change, right? If we see an absolute uproar, we're not going to be talking like if AMD goes to $200 out of nowhere, or even like 140 out of nowhere, we're probably not going to be talking about this zone very much. Okay, things can change, just so you're aware. But I'd be looking at the 2 hour swing trade. I think it looks fine, and then looking for a weekly expected move. Bruh, no chart freezing. No. It's a great price for an awesome course. Hey, thank you for saying that, John. I appreciate you. For long term, these are great prices. DCA price. I mean, I would argue that. I don't think it's bad. It's your dip. Like if you're an investor who likes to invest at key times for like a year, I think you're seeing everything you need to see to get a new all-time high. That's the truth of it. If you're being really precise and trying to be greedy and willing to opportunity cost and say like be patient still, then you're still waiting for the daily pullback for the SPY. Exposure to upside is not bad here. Exposure to upside anywhere above 550 is not bad here, in my opinion. I'd love to join, but I'd like to pay annually. We can maybe, oh yeah, someone asked that during Christmas time, if we could make an annual membership. I actually got an email from Patreon recently that said I have access to annual subscriptions now. My thinking here is, do I want to make an annual subscription? And then I'd probably have to just release, if I ever did a Discord, I'd have to use Patreon to just funnel you to Discord, like just say, hey, here's your code type deal. We wouldn't make you pay extra or anything like that unless it's a different tier. But yeah, I'll look into it for you, okay, Sue? Thank you so much for bringing it again to my attention. I know we have kind of forgotten about it for a few months, but I did get an email, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, saying like, hey, you know that you can do annual memberships now. So that's very cool. Patreon's starting to like you guys. H3, thanks for subscribing. We got Hassan. I could maybe just pay you by PayPal if easier. I have to give you access in some way. So we'll look into it. We really might be restructuring things around here because things are getting bigger kind of faster than I ever expected. I expected way less than I really didn't think people would click with how I view markets. I really didn't. I try to look very simply and I try to be helpful, and I didn't think that people would click as well with it, and they really are, and I think that's a great thing, and that's because of you guys. Like, you guys are showing like, hey, yeah, I like this kind of analysis, and it is helping me out, so therefore I'm going to like the video and do this, and that's what's really growing us very quickly. So I appreciate you guys, but at the same time, we're getting more and more people, and so weirdly enough, I think it's easier actually on Discord to give you more value because you guys can converse with yourself. show your ideas, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'll keep you updated, Sue. I am planning on taking a little vacation, by the way, a little vacation in June for about, I think it'll be like 5 days. So the weekend plus 3 trading sessions. I think it's mid-June. Okay, so during that time though, I'll have a day where I'll be here at my house, like in town. So I won't be out of town during like one day of that. And maybe during that day I could work on things like Discord and other stuff. Okay, so thank you. Yeah, they usually do close the gap. It's just, will they close the gap right now? Let's go look at ES. Let's look at those levels. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, they could do something real sneaky here, by the way. Let's see. How frickin', are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What is this? 5895. 5895. You gotta be kidding me. So the ES is still saying we could go down. As far as it stands, yes, you are correct. A lot of the time you gravitate towards gaps and things like that. Let's see if you actually have a gap here or if you're kind of incorrect. Ooh. Well, at least as the 30-minute stands, it says you filled the gap. So that means what's the most likely thing? Same thing as when we did the SPX 500. Go into here. Go into there. I think 2 hours probably better for this. Yeah. You could potentially add all the way to the wick at this point. So you're probably going to see a tap back into here. What you don't want to do is make a new low. You don't want to give up the entire move. You want these buyers to step in strong. That's it. ES looks okay. The only problem here is you made an equal high. You did not make a new high, which means you don't have pathway higher. So there is still risk here of actually, thank you for bringing up the ES. The ES is telling you that there's risk of still seeing this. But you have good buyers here, so watch that zone, okay? It's strange though, because the SPX 500 is saying we're going higher, right? It's peeking its head above. I don't watch the ES. I don't put as much credibility personally into the ES, and maybe that's just because I haven't traded it. Maybe that's because I don't research it that much or anything like that. My strategy is a lot of the time, if I am looking at future, I'm looking at SPX 500. This would be quick. This would mean like before tomorrow, David. It more so would say at any time before another big buy steps in, like, right, it would say before we're going to take this out, you are very likely to come down into here first. That's what it says, David. Yeah, so that would mean like, I would say in the next 2 trading sessions, if you don't see another big buy come in, then that level is most likely to get tested. Patreon has Discord integration. Just need to set up Patreon role in Discord. Oh, thank you, Lee. I'm going to screenshot that just so my brain remembers. So you're saying there's a way for me to do it? Thank you for that, Lee. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, David, usually you want to test these things fast. You kind of take it into consideration with the time frame you're looking at. If I'm looking at a daily retest, it could take weeks. If I'm looking at a 2-hour retest, it could take days. If I'm looking at a 30-minute retest, it could take like a half a day. Okay? And then you always want to see, like, if it's not going to retest, then it's just going to, like, confirm another big buy up. Will says the course was great. Thank you. That's awesome, Will. Glad about that. That's awesome. Appreciate it, Will. Hope you and your family are having fun this weekend, my dude. Is this actually live? What platform is giving you data? This is just TradingView. This is the SPX 500. It's a 4X one. It shows you the futures here. You can look at ES, Vince. If you really want to, you can look at ES as well. I just like to look at this one. This is one I've always looked at. Yeah, Vince. So this is where you won't see anything moving. Like you'll see none of this moving. I don't even think your trading platform will tell you. I have Tesla up over here. Tesla, yeah, even a lot of trading platforms won't catch like what prices stock individual stocks are at or ETFs are at. So looking at futures is a good thing if you're going to look at stocks today. Okay. Did I just delete Tesla? Okay, good. Whew. I almost messed up there. Just had a 3-course meal. That's what's up. Yeah, Vince, that took, trust me, when I was really early on, like years ago, like back when I was just swing trading, I was like, why, like people are, how do they look at these stocks? Like when I just downloaded TradingView, like fucking years ago, man. I was just like, how do they know that the stock market's going up? And then I just go, oh, I'm being dumb. That's how brain dead I used to be about the stock market back then. And thank you for donating, Vince. That means a lot. Thank you so much for that. You don't have to do that, buddy, though. Today's about really giving back to you guys and just spending some time with you guys. I like to do these day off streams now because we did it once on a Sunday, and it's mainly just to show like I appreciate the hell out of you guys. And it's a rainy day outside, so you guys are making my day better. But thank you so much for that, Vince. I like to say if you donate, usually it's like get my attention, right? If I don't see your chat like 5 times, then send $1. If that gets my attention, it will. I treat your money very seriously. Let's see. Finally, I get recognition. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Shy. It takes me a minute, man. Sometimes it's moving, and you know me and my freaking rants. I appreciate you, Shy. Thanks for being patient, buddy. Practice that patience in my chat. Yeah, we're not heading down yet. I mean, if we wanted to, maybe we could do the same things. Let's see if it works for futures. I don't do this with futures, but this would say like this would be great. So David, you're asking about the retest. If we can read into this in any way, this would mean the retest would potentially come like here. We break through, make that high again, show another way higher. Then you give it up. Didn't lose that wick. Okay, we're good. So if the 30-minute can go up to like here and then it kind of reverses off, this is the moment where you could see it. So this would line up to like tonight, like tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, you could see price down towards this type of level and it would make total sense to me. Just so if you want a little bit of like a guesstimation on timing with that, David. Tomorrow morning, you could be tagging these levels and people think gap fill, and then you go, we're in buyers right now. Let's see if we turn up from here and break out. Oh, breakout. Okay, we're going up. Probably to weekly expected move. Where's that weekly expected move? Oh, 5,941, right? Haven't looked at UNH. So we can go look at that again, see what's happened with it, because everyone keeps asking about it. So I would like to give it a few days even still, I think. But let's see what's happened with it. Because we were like, you can get a bounce at any time from this zone, right? Such a weird look to it right now because it's like crashing. It's actually weirdly enough, it's doing what it needs to do to survive. We have to see where this price opens up on Monday because you're still very negative on this 2-hour. But what do we say? Higher lows and stuff like that, they're just as good as divergence. A lot of the time, if not that, it's better, right? How do you gauge? How do I read into each time frame, David? Or are you Davide? I don't care. I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong. As long as we understand who I'm talking to. Are you talking about like on different time frames? Like how do you read into them? Yeah, we literally walk you through it in the course. Yeah, we literally hold your hand in the course. We say this is a 30-minute, or I think we maybe go backwards. I need to go look again, but the way we do it is we show you what to look for kind of like on dailies as far as divergences and what those reactions look like in 3 to 5 reasons. We look at a 2-hour, we look at a 30-minute, and then we show you like what the 30-minute likes to turn up. 30-minute, 2-hour. 2 hour, turns up dailies. And then we walk you through the entire process. And then we start to go through examples and really put it all together. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for asking. That's a very good question. Yes, we literally walk you through like how certain time frames affect other ones. And then we also show you the management for the trade when you kind of know like, hey, this is going wrong in a very simple way. We're going to be going more in depth with management of trade using price action as well and the indicator together. I think a lot of you guys are ready for it. I truly do. If you're not, the simple way works perfectly fine. Like if you're doing things and things are working, you don't have to change it, right? If you want to even just learn it for a second and be like, I'm probably not going to use that, it's fine. Price action is still a good thing to have in your head for critical times where signals aren't necessarily the best, because that will happen. As far as UNH goes, looking at the daily time frame, you would want a daily retest, right? This is where you're talking about daily retest. This could take weeks to happen, by the way. This could take weeks. This could take potentially even months. And you don't know exactly where it's going, right, for retest. So the first areas you pay attention to are the massive gaps, right? And I would be marking off this one right now for rejection. I would be marking off this gap right here and just going, oof, that is a big ass gap. So if we reject from there, that would make a lot of sense. And you might even see this like slow grinding climb for days. And you just see that daily MACD to get to here and then curl down. And we'll be talking about daily divergence, right? Boom, boom. And then you see if you can beat that high. Retest, go higher, right shoulder that could have been. That would be the best, but this is a very difficult one because you're plummeting, right? You're plummeting. So when I talk about UNH, I more discuss it in the point of like find those areas where accumulation can be good. I highly doubt UNH is like going to zero. 2 hour chart and MACD RSI and past shows down, then you can expect the stock to go down that day within 2 hours, not within 2 hours. So how you want? Let's do this. Let's do this on like the 2 hour because we have a setup here for the SPY to get rejected potentially. I think it had I think I said this backwards, by the way, in my video. And I cleared that up at the beginning of this video. But if we would have done this first, I think you're more likely to reject. We'll see if that still happens. I like to see things beaten in regular trading hours as well. But let's just say you're going to reject from right here when you get into these sellers, right? We're just going to reject and turn down on the 2 hour. Most of the time with rejections, if you're going to reject, you are going to see it within 2 hours show you that red. And the problem with this overall is what's going on with your indicators here does not suggest that this is the most probable thing at this point, but it is still something to be aware of because it is a good probability as well, right? It's just not the most at this point. So what you're really looking for as far as like rejection, I like to go into shorter time frames to see rejection. We did that for the 30-minute rejection right here. So maybe we should discuss it this way. I'm kind of thinking in my brain, like, what's the best way to discuss this, right? We see the big sell bar, we go into this wick right here, and we reject. Okay, what was I looking for on a shorter time frame to show me the signs of rejection? And then we can talk about the 2 hour rejection and what you really look for, okay? So on the 5-minute here, I know it's crazy. It's a 5-minute chart, but we did this in real time. You literally can go back to the live show and see me go through this on this day and tell you where it's going to retest, and it does, right? Because you gravitate to those and you see it a lot quicker on the 5-minute. So this overall showed what? Okay, we dictate a low, we make the higher high. Awesome, 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 awesome. Then what? I go, watch out, because now we have potential divergences. So this is an opportunity where you can see it early. We can mix our skills together, right? We saw potential divergences forming up here, right? Just very slight, but we're still aware of it. Hey, this is a time where that thing can, remember, we're paying attention to the rejection because we can reject anywhere around here. Okay, awesome. We see a 5-minute divergence on the MACD. Then we kind of look at this RSI and we go, yeah, that's kind of a flat, flat divergence. Maybe it's not going to be that bad. But we still want to treat every single one like it can go against you, right? If you're in calls and you see it retesting on the 30-minute, yeah, the 5-minute could not look that bad, but this could be a retest on the 30-minute. So you look for a break of this low, And then notice, what did we say during the live show? We found this little spot right here, and we go, right here is where it wants to retest. And if you reject off of that and you see like a wick, okay, then you're going to see bad things. And this is exactly where I just went, no, I think we're rejecting too low. I'm just out before any of this happens, truly. But I said, if you want to, look for the retest here to get out as well. We literally did this live, and it's crazy. But that all happened, right? And then we broke down. A retest can look like this, but there are times where a retest could look like this, okay? So it's more just understanding the area where there's risk and understanding if the low is broken a lot of the time. So on the 2-hour chart, it's kind of difficult to say like, oh yeah, I want to wait for the, or I want this to get to here, and I think it's maybe gonna come back. I'm still in calls. And then you see it reject, right? And are you gonna be able to wait for it to break that low, come back up and retest, and then go back down? That's gonna take a lot of time. So more so in these type of things, what would I be looking for from a 2-hour in this standpoint? Well, if the 2-hour confirms up, what would I be looking for from the 30-minute? This is dipping into Davide, whatever it is. This is dipping into the management, the simple management of the trade, which means if the 30-minute is in negative territory and I am seeing a good move, if that would roll down into negative territory again, I'm taking my risk out. I'm saying no, I'm done, I'm off, right? Price is getting below the 9, I'm off. And then you would just sit there and you'd be like, now, we did take out this high, so just in case something good is happening, maybe this is a retest again. You're kind of in that ping pong area. So then you would say, if that 30-minute crosses down and crosses back up, it's much closer to the center line. So this is where reaction leads to a good trade. So you're going to have to be able to react back and forth. And that's kind of the big deal here. You're going to have to react back and forth for those type of situations, because a 2-hour chart doesn't have to retest. A 2-hour chart doesn't have to even get to that area quickly. And I hope I'm overall tackling David. Okay, thank you for that. David, thank you. It takes more time on the bigger time frames. This is why most of the time your day traders really like price action and retests, because retest can take a long time. Retest can take a short time on the 2-hour. You could see a retest within 30 minutes. You could see a retest within 4 hours. And it just depends on how much your trade can withstand. So in this type of scenario, weirdly enough, I wouldn't be paying as much attention to making moves based on rejection. I would more so be paying attention to the simpler way to manage a trade. If the 2-hour curls up and gets to here, but the 30-minute rolls down, there is risk of downside because my 30-minute is very negative. And the 2-hour is showing me a form of rejection from the 30-minute rolling down in those sellers. Does that make sense? As far as the course goes, Boost, while we're taking a little segue here, as far as the course goes, when you buy it, you own it. If I add to it, you don't pay anything extra. Okay, David, thank you for that. I just want to make sure. And if this ever, I know that probably was an elongated explanation. So I wanted to leave it available. Like if we kind of linger away for a few days and we kind of forget about these things, or we get to that area, ask the question again, David, okay? But this is all the management for the trade in the course, and I think that's much better on the 2-hour chart, especially in this situation. If we have broken like if you see a 2-hour more so break the low, you can more so do price action, but we don't have an obvious low over here that we necessarily broke. Okay. Yeah, when you buy the course, guys, it's yours. You bought it with your hard-earned money. You don't pay extra. I'm going to put the price action stuff on there. You don't pay extra for it. We've added like 5 different videos to the course over time here. We never charge extra for it, okay? If you've already bought it, it is yours forever, okay? Thank you, Shai, for saying that. I appreciate it, because I'm glad you're saying that, because it makes me feel like, okay, I am getting a lot of the time when I am talking about things, I want to try to get it through as clear as possible. Bullish and bought at the high. So this would say you have how long do you have till that gets out there? Can you withstand? Do you have it for another like 3 weeks? Do you only have it until Tuesday? Right? That really needs to dictate your decision making. Whenever you're making a decision, time is always the biggest factor. Okay. June 6th. So you can probably sit around and be like, okay, do I get that roll right here? Right? And then you can go risk off, right? If you get that 30-minute roll right here, you can go risk off. And if it rolls back up, you just go, okay, buy it again. You're like, right, what's the harm? It's not even going to be a day trade at this point because we've already seen time elapse. So I'm assuming that you wouldn't have to, like, I'm not saying you don't have more than 25K. It's just that's a problem that people have brought up on this channel. So I think you're okay. I think that this upside is exactly what you needed, right? This upside's exactly what you needed. So yeah, Boost, let me get through your whole thing here. Between the two courses you offer, what's the difference? Swing trading is very freaking simple. It's very simple. That's why it's $50. So if you're someone who's new and just want to understand, like, positioning of MACD is a huge topic in swing trading, okay? If that's the case, and moving averages can be a big thing with swing trading as well. So MACD, RSI, positioning of those, and your moving averages when you have the 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. That's a good starting point. Now, a lot of swing trades get you into moves just a little bit later than you would like. So it is good after you get like comfortable with swing trading in the simplest form, you go over and you try to potentially learn more, because then you'll learn about divergence and see when that swing trade is going to confirm before it confirms, and you get a better price. Okay? Thank you for asking, Boost. Yeah, you can tie the two courses together. That's why I like the first one being very cheap, because I think you can make a lot of good decisions just based on monthly, weekly expected moves, right? But once you tie the other course in, that's what I think what really unlocks you as a trader. Okay. But I think everyone should be able to learn like basic stock movement for $50. I don't see why people charge $1,000 for a swing trading course when there's a lot more that goes into it than swing trading. And that's just like a basic level of understanding that can work. And if it works for you, you don't have to go past that. Okay. It should still. I do not delete videos, Jonna. I have not. No, unless I did have the streaming problems that week, so I did like go through and delete some like 2-minute streams or 1-minute streams that don't have any video on them. I don't think I made a mistake there. Let me go check for you. It should be there. Yeah, it should be there. Let me double check. I do, unless I made a mistake. YouTube Studio content live. What was the date then? That was the 18th, I think. Was it the 18th? It's called Big Topics for the week. Big Topics for this week live. That was May 18th. So it's kind of deep in there, but look for the one with the title Big Topics for this week live. Okay. And you guys really like that stream. Shit, everyone liked that stream. 272 likes. You guys are too nice to me. You guys love that stream, huh? That's awesome. I'm glad you guys like these. Like, I'm glad you like it. And I think it's good to see it like over time, just like slow down. This allows us to slow down, which I think is great for me because I know I ramble. Yeah, and thank you guys for asking some questions about the course. I know there probably are plenty of them, but links down there, give it a click. And you can always come back to the live shows and ask questions, right? The worst thing would be to like if you've been here for a while, you're still confused and you're hesitating, and then you pay double or triple like next week. Like, I don't want to see that. I would say I would kind of put it like, if you're not seeing a sale, like we'll do another sale probably around my birthday, like July to August or something like that. And then we have our big Christmas one. Jesus, people really liked the big Christmas one last year. It was awesome. I had a lot of questions to get to, but and a lot of those people are still here, and that's fantastic. All right. Yeah, the 18th. Big topics for this week live. It should work, Jonna. Cautiously optimistic about Tuesday. I think that's a good place to be, Chris, because we don't see price open right now. Let's go. Okay, let's not look at something that's not moving. Let's at least show something. Okay, I will say this. If you take out the level of the weekly expected move by, say, Tuesday, because we're still going up, I think you're likely to come retest into here before Tuesday, like Tuesday open potentially. And thank you for saying that, Frank. Really appreciate it. Hell yeah, Jonna. Merry Chrism. Merry Chrism. So for now, if we are able to take back all of these sellers, you're looking for dips to buy. That's how I see it at this point. I think even this gives you that inclination right now of like, I'm looking for a dip to buy. As long as nothing unforeseen or something random or, I don't know, Trump does something funky with his makeup that day and it makes the market crash. That's the same as the big full quick. Yeah, you have it. That's just when we run our huge sale, Jonna. Yeah. Yeah, that's what that we always I'm going to do that every single year. I'm going to do that every year. We're going to have the just literally every year we're going to do the super cheap price to get people the ability to learn, to give back for Christmas season, to really help you. Like maybe you have some time to research over your Christmas time. You might have a few days off. You might take vacation and have some time to elevate your learning. I think it's a great thing to do. Is just absolutely give it away for dirt cheap during that time. But this price is still really good. Yeah, it's still really good. Like, I don't think you guys understand. I spent like I think it was six. I'll say. I know it was less than 10K. I'll say about $6,000 to $9,000 on courses, and in the grand scheme of things, it's how I think about college. Most of it was a waste, but I did get the things I needed from there to really elevate my trading. I just had to think of it very critically, right? Everything in my course is pulled like those little bits and elevated to my understanding as well. So at the end of the day, that Wall Street guy valued my course at $2,000. And I was like, holy shit, okay, if you think so. I was like, I think it's like worth $1,000. So I only value it at like 1,000. And I'm a very low end valued person. Like I try to give you 3x your value, at least. Most people, they take the course, they come in within a month and they say, I already made back like 5 times what I paid for it, which is just, that's awesome. That's exactly what I want to happen. I hear that Trump is going to postpone the tariffs on EU. Yeah, that was announced. Hopefully the market will be up tomorrow. I hope so too, Frank. I hope so too. For my SoFi calls, I hope so. Had to take that higher low. It didn't give me the best thing in the world, so it's not like a huge thing. I'm still hesitating because I want that daily pullback to like go all in on calls or like call spreads or something till like July, like mid-July or July OpX. But at this point right now, I'm just like, fuck it, just be good tomorrow. Okay. I still like a good trade. Thank you guys for being here today. Thank you guys for spending so much time with me. I do have to hop off, guys. I am running very low on time. I have to hop off. Actually, like right now, I just looked at the time and I will be 100% honest with you guys. I was supposed to hop off 54 minutes ago, and I just looked at the time, and I'm not in a good spot. Okay, so I do have to take off. I really, really appreciate you guys being here today. I'll take a quick look, okay? I'll take a quick look, okay? You've been nice today, Ryad. Thank you guys. And if anyone else wants more of this, we will be live tomorrow. We can look around at some stocks, pay attention to the SPY, and do all those things, okay, Timus? Timus, there's a lot of stocks that we got through. I think we got through a lot of stocks over here, okay? So if you have the time, just click through and look at the ticker, right? Just, down here with your mouse, just go click. All right, nope, not the ticker I want, not the ticker, and just bump around like every 3 minutes. All right. That'll help you out if there's a stock you want to look at. As far as this one goes, there's an issue here. There is an issue here of my MACD is not showing me like that it really wants to like gear up and go as of right now, but the price action kind of is, which is kind of interesting. So when I look at this, I look at my zone immediately and I mark off this high and I mark off those wicks. And I say, overall, where do these wicks keep getting support? Well, they keep getting support in this big buying bar. So that's fantastic. But we did just make a downward move and went negative. Okay, and you had divergence right here, weirdly enough. You see that? See that little blip? That gives me more confidence. I like to see little blips. So if the 30-minute rolls down, I would potentially expect lower prices unless price action is able to hold up better in one of these bars. This bar right now or this bar. So what would be this is a 2 hour. My bad. I'm being an idiot. Did the daily confirm down? Yes. Ugh, that's just a big issue. Okay, this will help us out. So ultimately, what are you looking for? Right? What are we looking for? Well, I would really like to see this level down here, which means what? We could come all the way down, potentially even a gap fill, right? We can test this zone too. I think the next real opportunity for this, I think you could get another upside move. That 2 hour doesn't look that bad. It might continue for a bit of time, but I think eventually you're going to see a daily pullback, and maybe waiting for that daily pullback is the better option. But if you're in this right now, you're not necessarily disappointed, right? You're not necessarily that disappointed. You're just going, okay, the 2 hour made a high, made a low, made a high. Now we broke that low. So you're in a risky spot. If the 2 hour rolls, that's bad. So let's talk about how it could remain good though. The 30-minute is able to curl up into positive territory again and make a new high. That's what you need to see here. Because as of right now, the 2 hour looks like we could reject. So we're going to go deeper into it to see if it's rejecting. If it is rejecting, then you're probably going to lose these buyers, and then you're just hoping that these buyers show up, right? And I think that would be too big of a drop. So I think that for EVGO, you would like to pay attention to these big-ass green bars, and you'd like to pay attention to the right shoulder that could have been for the 30-minute. And look for this anywhere in here. Maybe if you got 5-minute skills or something like that, you can look at that. Or you can treat it very simply and say, what? If the 30-minute crosses down, I'm not going long yet, but the positioning of the MACD, right? We talked about the swing trading course. It's only $50. You literally could go learn. You could get both courses right now for $250. Tell me another place that'll give you that information for that amount. But if the 30-minute, keeping it simple is a good thing is what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm bringing that up. We try to keep things very simple in there. And if the 30-minute just curls back up into positive territory, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. That is where you make your attempt to go make a new high. So that says I would put my risk on here. If we would go up like this, create a divergence and reject, I would be out. I would be like, nope. Or if we make a 30-minute what? Lower high, right? So during this time, I don't think you're likely to, by the way, because you're such a positive trend, but this is something to be aware of. It can happen. During this time, you see the sellers starting to come into here. We don't know where price is going to open up, by the way. But if this is going to do this and then go up to there and you say, I'm risk on, and then you quickly see that reject and curl right back down, it just goes wham. You go, I'm out. Nope, not a good trade. We're going to go deeper or even break the low and go make a new one. That's how I'm viewing it at this point. Maybe ask me again tomorrow Yeah, ask me tomorrow when we see the opening price, actually. Seeing the opening price would really help us for this one. Because if it can make a downward move first, that would actually be better in my viewpoint. All right. Hey, thank you guys so much. I tried to give you as much time as possible. I'm supposed to take my wife out to brunch, and we just missed brunch. So I'm going to be in trouble for a little bit, but I do appreciate you guys. Go give it a look if you want to check out that quote. You're just going to hear me mention it a lot this week. Trust me, after this week, I won't be mentioning it much at all, like if at all. I really don't mention it unless it's a I think it's a great deal at the like 400 price point, but as it's half price, I'm going to mention it. So see you guys after this, right? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Go back and review the YouTube video if you wanted to see what we're looking for this week, and then look at the futures if you want to pay attention to stocks today, okay? Don't sit there and stare at stocks that aren't really moving, right? Try to get some analysis done. And as these things aren't necessarily open, say for the options market, you can really try to read into price action and practice today if you have the time, okay? Thank you guys. I hope you have a great one. I hope your family and you had a great weekend. If you weren't able to spend time with family, I hope you go get some good food today, man. Treat yourself well, enjoy a little bit of your day, and then come into the market well and reloaded and ready, because we're going to get back down to business first thing in the morning. All right. Cheers. Cheers, Lee. Peace out. Have a good day. I'm out of here. Later, guys.